Hey, get in here.
Hey, you!
No, get in our room.
Yeah, you, come here.
Come in.
Come on, get in our room.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Get in Our Room. I'm Bobbi, and this is my co-host Kristin.
Good morning. Sorry, I was focused on the Instagram Live.
All good.
Get distracted. Easily distracted.
That's okay. It happens to everybody at the worst of times, mostly. All right. So this week's episode is I rather be reading. So I was tasked with watching some episodes of Schitt's Creek, and we're going to talk about it. So before we get into that, I want to kind of touch base on some of the books that we've read this week, because I was able to also get back into some reading this week. And I actually finished 3 books. One of them was an audio book. And it's for one of our upcoming episodes. So I listened to Where the Crawdads Sing. So I'm not going to really go in depth on my thoughts about that, because we're going to do a whole episode about the book and the adaptation of the movie. So be sure to look out for that. That is going to be in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I think, like that. If I remember correctly. I still have to watch the movie. So, another book that I read this week, is also a series that I got Kristin hooked on. Not sorry.
It's slowly ruining my life.
Yeah. And so I typically read a lot of fantasy and like world building and extreme, like things that pull out a lot of emotion. And so when that happens, I like to read just really fun, we'll call it romance novels. A little bit spicy. And this one is book 5 of the Salacious Players Club. It's called Highest Bidder. It came out last Friday. And it's by Sarah Kate, right? I remember that right? I've looked at so many authors this week.
Have no idea. That sounds right though.
Sarah Kate, yeah. Super good. Really fun. Very, very, very spicy.
Yes.
The whole show, or the whole series, is about a sex club. And it kind of dives into different kinks and like the BDSM world. And if you even for a second thought that Grey's, what is that called? The Grey?
50 Shades of Grey.
Thank you, that book. If you thought that was good, which I'll let you believe what you want, this is such a better series and such a better... Sarah did such a good job researching the knowledge behind these different things, and then her characters and her character development across the books in the series is really good too.
Do you think she did in-person research?
I don't know. She's got like a family and stuff, so maybe her and her husband did some research together. That's good for them, because I mean, it's a great series, and the last book was really cute, honestly. Highest Bidder was very cute. There was some trauma in it for like loss of parents and loved ones and stuff like that, but so good. And I know you're gonna mention some more stuff about that series, Kristin, so I'm gonna move on to my last one and then hand it over to you. I read what ooh, I'm terrible at this, guys. I take notes and I take the shittiest notes ever, because I read the book Iced Out. I'm gonna look up the author right now, but this is a come on, go back, Kindle. What are you doing? I didn't realize it's a series. It's by C.E. Ricky, Ricci Ricky. I'm so sorry if I murdered that. But it is the first in the Leighton U books, and it's about hockey, which is my favorite sport in the whole entire world. Um, and it's a lot spicier than I thought it was going to be. I wasn't actually prepared for that. It's Jules' perspective between two male main characters, and it is the most adorable romance novel. Like, it is so cute, so adorable. Like, nemesis, enemies to lovers, throw, like, oh my gosh, it's so good. I actually really recommend that one. But cute, adorable. I was like so happy the whole time I was reading it. It's one of those ones that you're like, what the catch. You're a Kindle reader and you know about between 70 to 80% of the way through, there's gonna be like some like thing that happens that screws it up and then they come back together in the end, right? So you can kind of what the catch is gonna be in this one that's gonna like cause the issue, but you still are like, I wanna know. I wanna know more and how it ends. And it ends very adorable. So called Iced Out, if you're up for a spicy um dual male main character book, just go read it. It's so good.
I was just Googling it to look it up, and if you just type in iced out, you get a bunch of diamond jewelry.
Oh, I guess that makes sense.
So be sure to add book to the end of that when you Google it. Otherwise, it'll get very expensive.
It's not. It's like on Kindle. It's great.
So as Bobby said, she got me hooked on the Salacious Players Club.
I'm not sorry.
I think I read all 4 books in 1 week, so I still have the highest bidder, but I gotta like go read some other books for a minute and like get back to reality for a quick second. Because the fun part about the series is that it's a group of friends that own this club together, and so then you get each book is their story and their kink. If you're, yeah. I don't know if my parents are on here, so I don't know how far into this I want to go. Anyways,
yeah, I learned a lot.
Sorry, mom and dad.
Yeah, I learned a lot about a world I was not introduced to, sorry, Kristin, I'm just gonna pivot real quick. I think is really interesting how much I have learned from some of these romance novels and in their healthy things, like just being open and understanding and accepting of different people's worlds and things that they like, and that these things aren't, though they're taboo, like they don't have to be, like it's they're none of your business, they're not hurting anyone, and generally they're all good people like who have these like kinks and stuff. And I think it's refreshing to get different perspectives, and I mean that's part of why I read, is to be understanding. So yeah, a whole world I had no idea about, but I'm super accepting to, because the other thing about these books that's really good is there's consent, right? It's very strongly rooted in consent. And I think just reading these could teach a lot of not young, but like young adults,
Any adult.
any
Any
adult,
age.
truly, any age, but like we don't get proper sex education in the schooling system at all. You kind of like learn as you go. And if I think young adults were to read something like this, they would fully understand what the hell consent is and how to freaking do consent correctly. So,
Did you know there's a theory, and I'm just going off of memory, I didn't look this up, but there's a theory that there's less serial killers and less egregious crimes like that because of a society that's more sexually accepting.
oh, dude, I
And
100%
so
believe that.
those people, less people feel like they have to attack and then murder in order to experiment with this stuff.
That is not very surprising and something I could totally understand. Because like if you just
Because
look at
now
the
that
violent crimes in countries that are like there's a park. Like I rode a bike. I know I talked about going to Germany last week, but like this was a pivotal point in my life, my young adult life. I was 18 and in college going into my junior year, it was that summer between sophomore and junior year of college. But like I was like we were on a bike tour of Berlin, and we were going through like the largest park, and there's like nude sunbathers in the freaking park. Like nobody bats an eye. Nobody's even staring at each other. Everyone's minding their own business. And I think that, you know, if you just like compare violent crimes, of course there's terrible, disgusting people everywhere, but if you compare the amount of violent crimes in America and how we handle situations like naked people in the park versus not worrying about it, like I think it shows a lot. So
yeah.
yeah.
Also, as you read through Salacious Players Club, at the end of each book, did you think, is that my kink? And then you moved on to the next book and you're like, where's it that one? And then you moved on to the next book.
Yeah, there was some of that. It was like it makes you very open to, because a lot of these stories, of course, are still rooted in like finding love, you know? So I think and because you become so invested in the characters and you love them, I think like when you have love paired with these what seem like crazy ideas, you become a lot more accepting to the idea of partaking in something like that, because you have that trust and that vulnerability and that passion with that person. So I think that's more or less what it is for me, is like I would be, you know, I'd be happy to partake if the person I was with was, you know, consenting. I trusted them without fault, and like I had love for them in some capacity.
Yeah. So yeah, I read through all 4 of those. And then I also I think this is like an actual romance novel and less about the smut. Heartless was a fun little book about this guy owns this huge farm and his wife like just up and left him and his son. And so he had to get a babysitter for the summer. And I mean, you know how it ends.
Yeah.
And I also started the Mindfuck series.
That was on my TBR for so long, and I actually bumped it off of my Kindle to put other stuff on.
You haven't read it?
I haven't read it, but I was the one, I think I was the one to bring it up to you, right?
You were, because we were talking about female serial killers.
Yeah.
I think we talk about serial killers a lot.
Yeah.
We were talking about female serial killers, and you were like, this is a great one. And
I've heard it's a great one. I have not read it. So
right off the bat, I am awestruck by the dialogue in it. Very, very well written. Witty, intelligent. I would say out of all of the books that I've read, there's good storylines. This seems to be the most well written.
Wow, okay. That's good to know.
Very, very well written.
Perhaps I should read it then.
I mean, I'm nodding enthusiastically, but I'm like 2 or 3 chapters in. So
I mean, it can only get better then, right?
it's just a small, I have a very small sliver to work with.
Awesome. And do you know how many books are in that?
I want to say 5.
Yeah.
But I really don't know. I'll look it up.
Yeah, I have a rule this week is I'm not allowed to start any new books until the 3 that I have half finished on my Kindle are read and off my Kindle. So that's my rule for this week. I'm going to try and finish these 3 books. One of them I started months ago. And
yeah, but you know what they say about rules.
By the book, Bobbi.
They're made to be broken.
So I have a hard time with that these days. I used to break the rules a lot when I was like a rebellious teenager, a lot, but um, when it came to rules in school and stuff, I was pretty, straight and narrow to them. And now, even in my like daily life now, I'm like more of the rule follower, and like not following the protocols make me anxious. So I should probably finish those. And I want to finish them because I hate leaving a story half done, because I want to give the benefit of the doubt. Because this one series I was reading, this is the third book, I think. And it started out so strong. But now she's just like stuck in this dungeon for 40% of this book. And I'm like, where are you? What is happening? Can we do something here? And then there's like this insinuation that like she's stuck in this dungeon and the man she loves is elsewhere, and she's stuck in this dungeon with these other people. And there's alphas in this book, and there's like an alpha in there. She's also an alpha though. And so like, I don't know, there's like these small insinuations that she's gonna like fall or do something with this other alpha, and I'm not really big into like cheating stuff. So I'm not like, that's why I haven't kept reading it, because I'm just like, I hate that. I'm such a hopeless romantic. Like, get out of here with that. Like, I don't care. I don't want to read it. But anyways, that's my rule for this week. So let's hope I get through it and survive it. Okay, so some other news in the book world is in reference to James Patterson. A couple months ago, I think it was, he has promised to donate of his own money $1 million to indie booksellers and authors, basically. And to date this year, Patterson has donated $1,008,300 to 178 bookstores across the United States with no strings attached.
Have you ever read a James Patterson book?
I have not, but I am going to reach out to a friend who I know has and ask them, who's read many of them, and I'm going to ask where I should start.
He has 114 New York Times best-selling novels.
Yeah, I know. It's insane. That's why I haven't read anything from him, because it's way too overwhelming for me. Like, I already have all these half-finished series, and some of them aren't coming out. And like, I guess that's one thing that, because I told myself this year I really should start looking to see if books are going to be series and if they're completed or not. And if they're not completed, just leave them on my TBR list, because I have 2 books that showed up in my Kindle, and I was like, I literally don't remember what happened in the first book. I started reading one yesterday, and I was like, she starts it off with a synopsis, thank gosh, but I still am like, I don't freaking remember this. Like, I don't remember any of this. And I know I read it, because I wouldn't have pre-ordered the second book had I not. And it's part of the Miss King series, and I know I read the Miss King. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with this right now. So like, maybe reading his books would be good, because he's got novels and series, and there's a lot of stuff that's completed. But
over 200 novels, 114 best-selling novels.
Yeah,
that's insane. No wonder I see his name everywhere.
Yeah, it's wild. And then he's got to have help. I know he's an older
like
gentleman. Yeah,
you mean like ghostwriters?
Yeah, or like people who, I don't know, help the plot. Really, editors that are really involved, type of thing, you know. Or yeah, ghostwriters. I don't know. I don't know how. So, but from this on the NPR .org, his statement is, we're in a juncture right now where bookstores as we know them are at risk, libraries as we've known them are at risk, publishers are at risk, American literature is at risk as we know it, and getting kids reading is at risk. So he's really trying to put his money where his heart is. And I think that's freaking wonderful. Also, I know we talked about like book banning and stuff last week, which I think this James Patterson quote goes along with, but I came across a national poll from Iowa's Grinnell College and Seltzer and Co., which is a polling company out of Des Moines, Iowa. And the headline is National Poll Finds Americans Support Freedom to Read. This came out March 24th of this year. And it says, in response to a question on whether such books should be included in public middle school library collections, a majority of respondents agree that students should have access to books addressing the following subjects: sexual orientation, 56%, racism in the United States, 76%, gender identity, 57%, the Bible, 84%, creationism, 67%, and the is it Quran? Okay, 67%.
I can imagine every single American being like, I don't think anybody's going to read that. Sure, put it in the library. I don't think anybody's going to read that. Sure, put it in the library. Because like you said, people don't read anymore. So at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, put it in the library. They'll never find it there.
I also, this next part of the poll, because there was like a follow-up question, a majority of the respondents, 57%, said that school librarians should play a major role in making such decisions. Well, yeah, that's their freaking job, no shit. While 55% of respondents said students also should. So students having a voice, rah rah, that's good. 53% said families of students should as well. Sometimes adults forget what it's like to be a child, so I'm like on the fence about that one. Although 44% of the respondents said that local elected school boards should weigh in on such a matter, absolutely not. Also 17% said that the state elected officials should get involved. I'm really happy that the state elected officials get involved was only 17%, because fuck those people. Because
shouldn't they have more important things to do anyways?
Yeah, they definitely should. Yeah, 100%.
Than worry about what's in a library.
Yeah. So I found that really interesting, and those numbers pretty interesting. And though when they say majority, most of them were just over that 50% mark. I am happy to see that, we're still on that side of this topic. And I think it's something that we should continue to do, and maybe even do on a larger scale, so we can keep our eye on it to protect the knowledge, So in some really fun book news, there's an author, her name is Amy Dawes, and she has a few series out. I have read Wait With Me. It is book 1 in a series, and I haven't continued to read it because I have some other stuff going on and my list of things to do, as I already explained. But Wait With Me was turned into a movie, and it premiered on the 30th, and there was a big premiere show in Denver. So congratulations to her, because Wait With Me is a very cute novel about a erotica author who meets a mechanic. And it is so adorable. And it's on Passionflix, and Passionflix is a streaming app dedicated to turning romance novels into series.
Which is it's fairly new, right? It just came out in 2017, or it was created in 2017.
Yeah. So, and you can.
Have you ever heard of it?
I haven't heard of it
obviously prior to today.
No, I haven't heard about it until Amy was doing promotional stuff for Wait With Me, the movie. But you can get it through Amazon. You can subscribe to it, but you can also do it through Amazon like as an extra fee to Prime. I was trying to look that up. I got really confused because I do have Amazon Prime again. But I like went on a hiatus from Amazon for a few years. But I recently purchased it again. And so I was trying to like look it up on there or whatever. I found the movie and everything, but I was really confused about how the Passion Flicks thing worked with Prime, if it was like an add-on to your subscription for Prime. I don't really know. I'm gonna have to figure that out because I really want to actually watch the movie. Um and because I think
Bobby wants to watch a movie?
I like movies, yeah. They're not so committal. Like they're like 3 hours tops. It's great.
Oh, good
Um
point.
and I really liked the book, and I think that the char- the casting, I haven't seen them act, but I think the guy and the girl are really adorable. Like on the movie poster or whatever. I think they're like really adorable looking and they kind of fit the character cuz the erotica novelist female character is like this really kind of cute quirky girl. Um and so I don't know, really interested in that.
I am very interested overall just because how are these not just pornos? Like, I feel like romance to smut, you have like your cute little Hallmark movie, and then you have just, I mean, there's some of these books I'm like, I don't know how you're going to turn that into a movie. I'm interested to see what they do with it, but I guess there's a lot they're going to have to skip over. And this
Yeah.
also seems like a really good time to bring up the fact that I actually don't know the difference between romance, erotica, and smut.
Yeah, I saw this TikTok of this lady who draws this Venn diagram and it's like romance, erotica, and in the middle is smut. So like and then she goes on to say like romance is like this love story with a whole ton of plot, and then erotica is mainly just a lot of sex and sex adjacent things. And then smut is a perfect merger of both of them because there's like the romance, the smut, or the erotic, the sex rather, and then there's still a plot line involved. That's that's the best way I saw it explained. If that's totally true, I have no idea because like before like um before book talk, I'm not even kidding that I didn't even know what the hell a trope was. Like the enemies to lover trope or the
Oh yeah.
one bed trope, like all of that stuff. I had no idea what that was. I'm like, they're just stories. Like they're just stories, right? Um, you know, I didn't I didn't get in I don't and I'm not good at even with my music, I'm not good at categorizing stuff. Like I'm like just put it in alphabetical order and let me pick. Like I don't care like 'cause my taste in music and in books is anything good. Same thing with beer. Like when people are like, "Well, what do you like?" I like everything that unless I don't like it. I don't know.
I don't I don't know until it strikes my fancy, or like
I
how
don't
will I know?
yeah, unless I start it or try it and I don't like it and then I know I don't like that. But I don't know. So I think that's how I look at romance, smut, and erotica. I'm not a huge erotica fan, I'll be honest. I'm like when I think of erotica, I think of like Ice Planet Barbarians because there's like a
Wait,
really
wait. I gotta go look that up.
yeah, so there's a pretty weak plot in that and I was like I read the first two books and I was like I don't like this. Like I'm just not a
For
fan.
anybody that doesn't know, it's a series of sci-fi alien romance books. Oh man,
Yeah.
I bet that gets out of hand so fast.
Yeah, it does. For those of you who like erotica, if you want to read about blue alien guys with tails and a spur at the base of their you know what, you can go ahead and read that. I'm not, that's not, I need plot. And sometimes I actually get really mad. That's one of those books that I gotta finish reading. I'm 75% of the way through this book. And I'm really annoyed because I love the plot line, but all of the sex keeps getting in the way of the plot line. And it's driving me bonkers.
Oh man. I have to admit that sometimes I skip pages
Hey,
because the plot
Kristin.
line gets in the way. Yeah.
Oh, it fixed itself. Your mic was like staticking for a second, like bounced, like, but it's good now, so I don't know.
I think I hit it.
That's okay. I just wanted to it sometimes it does it when you bump it, and sometimes mine does too, so I've tried to like pin my cord out of the way, but it kept going for longer than normal, so I wanted to bring it up, but I apologize. But yeah, so not
It's like that's literally ringing in my ears. Please do something about it.
yes, actually, that's exactly.
And I'm like, I can't hear it. I'm talking.
So yeah, I don't know. I love a good I just love stories. And so when the sex gets in the way, I get out of the way of the book. I'm like, you keep doing your thing, but I'm gonna go over here and pick up this other book. All right, cool. So
I love when I like you look up a new book and people are like, a plot? What could possibly be the plot in this book? And you're like, the author gave a little preface that said there is no plot. It's just
it's just a good old fun time.
like, I don't know what you're expecting. She told you there was no plot.
Yeah. On our Instagram page, I actually have a recommendation. I've been putting out some if you like this or if you didn't like this, you should read this other book. So on our Instagram for our Ice Planet Barbarians, I give a suggestion about another series. The first book is called Chasing Theo, and the plot is better. It's very similar. It's still like alien planet, human women from Earth type of thing, but the story of why the women are there, why they can't go home, and stuff is much deeper. And there's I'm a big mystery person, actually. So there's a mystery of this, there's a problem happening in the background and a mystery. So, take a drink every time. And so I don't
mystery
know.
one more time.
It has somewhere that it's going that keeps you like wanting to read these books. And I think there's like 6 of them out currently, and I think they started in 2019, that series did. So I much prefer that. I read the first 2 of that and thoroughly enjoyed them. And then third one is about a character that I want to know more about, but I we all know how we get lost in of books, and I have done that. So I picked up that series, but yeah.
I mean, okay, so that goes back to this whole passion flicks thing. If you have an incredibly long TBR list, are you really going to find time to like read a novel and then go watch a movie on that exact novel? So much so that you're going to pay for a subscription to Passion Flicks to read and then watch the same novel? Or, I mean, I just don't know how successful. I mean, they've been around for 5 years, 6 years. But I just don't know how successful you're going to be with their movies when they're already books, when people read the books and they love the books.
Yeah. That's a really good thought. I don't know. I want to watch The Wait with Me, but I really felt strongly about the book. I think it just comes back to how strongly you feel about the book, and if you're willing to accept a theatrical version of it, on the big screen, because not everyone's happy with how books are adapted into movies, right? Like, I actually don't want them, as much as I want to see the Bat Boys embodied in human form, like real tangible human form, I also don't want them to touch anything that Sarah J. Maas has written, because it lives better in my head, like off the bat. Like, nobody can be Rhysand. Nobody can be Rune. Nobody can be Cassian. Like nobody is good enough to be Hunt. Like just nobody is there.
Yeah.
They're gonna get it wrong 100% of the time in my mind because give me the cinnamon rolls that are Cassian and Hunt. Let them live in my brain for the rest of my.
So I guess we should add that movie on Passion Flicks to our series of books versus movie reviews.
Yeah, actually, I think that would be really good because Amy is technically an indie author, and I wanna do that. So you should read that book.
Okay. Ow! Quit twisting my arm.
All right.
All right. So beautiful little segue. This is my favorite series that we've set up so far. Series, yeah, little
Episode type?
segments,
I don't know. Yeah,
episode types.
whatever.
This segment is called I'd Rather Be Reading. And this segment was specifically designed for Bobbi Jo. Because although Bobbi knows that TVs exist, and she knows that there's such things as movies and TV shows, she would rather be reading. And so for our entire friendship, that is 6 months old, I have tried my best to never recommend a TV show or a movie to Bobbi Jo.
Even though
Because I knew
she has done it several times. She's like, have you watched this? You watched it?
well, I've asked you, but I don't like, hey, you should watch this.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I'll be like, hey, have you? Because I'm making a lot of references and you don't seem like you're getting them. And she was not getting them because she hasn't seen them.
We were on this drive from we flew into Portland and we had to go south of the city and I took her, and I used to live in the Pacific Northwest, so I took her to there's what's the road? I can't remember, but there's like 7 waterfalls right off this one road on the Columbia River Gorge. So we went after our flight when we met at the airport, and we hiked and walked all of those just to get some motion back in our body from flying all day. And then we were driving south, and she's like making like comments and saying stuff like all week when we were together, and like we were driving back from where we were at up to the airport to leave at the end of the week, and she's like, oh, you know what that's from? And I'm like, it's from something? I had no idea.
So, yeah, but I've never recommended anything because I know that Bobbi's not going to enjoy it because there's going to be some book that is just like taking up all of her mind space. That she's like that kid that's just like constantly looking over at her Kindle. Like maybe if I just. So now she has to watch it.
Nope.
And now I get her feedback, knowing full well that she'd rather be reading.
Yes. So, the first series that Kristin wanted me to watch was Schitt's Creek.
As soon as I told you that, my parents, as soon as I got off here, they were like, oh, we knew you were going to pick Schitt's Creek. We knew it.
And my parents have watched Schitt's Creek, and they thoroughly enjoyed it. Because I remember talking to my mom on the phone one time, and she seemed like non-committal to the conversation, and I was like, "Are you busy? Are you doing something?" She's like, "I'm just watching Schitt's Creek." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'll let you go. Call me later. Like what? No big deal." And that was like years ago. That was a couple years ago. Because I think they followed this when it was actually like on TV or whatever. Because it played from there's 6 seasons, and it played from 2015 to 2022. And I watched all of season 1 over this week. And so this is written and produced by basically the Levy brothers and Dan Levy, who is Eugene Levy's son. So there's Fred Levy is Eugene's brother, so he was like a producer with Dan and Eugene. And I did not know that Dan, like as I started watching this, I did not know. I'm not, because I don't watch a lot of shows and I don't watch a whole ton of movies. I don't know who's who in the acting world besides like Ryan Reynolds, like big names, like, and oftentimes they probably played some type of superhero because I'm big into superhero movies. So I like was watching, I was like 2 episodes in or something, and I was like, man, this son he's got the same eyebrows as, and I knew who Eugene Levy was. I was like, he's got the same eyebrows as that guy. So I instantly went and looked up Schitt's Creek IMDb page. I was like, oh, it is this son, like, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then of course, like at the end of the episodes in the credits, I started to pay attention to who's who. And it says that it was produced by Eugene and Dan and blah 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 blah. And I was like, oh, okay. So
Did you know Dan's sister, Dan Levy's sister, is also in Schitt's Creek?
who's she?
Twyla.
No way.
Yeah, that's his sister.
That's
and Eugene's daughter.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea. I saw something Levy in the female role, but I didn't catch who it was, and then I didn't pay attention to all of the credits.
She doesn't have the same eyebrows, or she does and she plucks them off. But
she looks nothing like them, honest to gosh.
Yeah.
Because she's got softer skin, and like her hair is a lot softer, where theirs is like jet freaking black.
Yeah.
But oh, that's so interesting. She's such a quirky character. I mean, oh my god, all the characters are really quirky, and
I feel like she's the perfect small town character.
I would say that's, yeah. First off, the thing that I want to say is not a positive. The mayor is disgusting. Like I am repulsed because he is repulsive. His character is repulsive. He's just disgusting. And I literally like, sorry. I'm thinking of, sorry.
Him digging around in the fondue with his hands. Hey, can I get you a fork? Nah, I got it.
I can't even. I was like, I'm gagging now thinking about it. I cannot. I can't handle that. And he's just like, his shirt's always gross. And I'm like, you're the fucking mayor? Like, what? And then one of my favorite parts, though, is the stupid sign of the town. It's his sister. It doesn't make it better. Doesn't make it better.
How would they know that?
Then he puts a sign and it's not better. But my favorite character so far is Stevie, the office lady at the hotel, because she's the only, her and Mutt are like the only two like normal. Fucking people in the whole show. Like the whole show. And I'm like, because even the family, like the Alexis and David and the parents, they're not fucking normal people at all. And it just shows two extremes, like not normal rich person, not normal poor people, and then you have Mutt and Stevie somewhere in the middle who are just fucking people. And I am like, oh my gosh. But I love the friendship dynamic between Stevie and David. So it's kind of curious to see where that goes because of how the season 1 ends. And I just thought, I don't know. It's taken me, I got some feedback from some like new acquaintance friends that we made. Because I was like watching it and Jake went to meet up with them in chat or whatever, and he told them what I was doing. And there I can't remember her name. But her feedback was it was really hard to get into the show. It took her like halfway to get into it, and then after season 1 it got a lot better. And that seems to be that seems to be the premise. So I'm like, okay, do I keep watching? I'm not sure.
I mean, not if you don't enjoy it. Not if there's something else you'd rather be doing.
See, I think if it was like back in the day where I could get stoned and watch it, it'd be great. It'd be a great show. But like I don't smoke anymore, so I can't get high and watch. But it seems like one of those shows
Yeah.
where you can like really get in with the stupid if you're just like melting into the couch. Be like,
Yep.
haha, yeah. I will say some of the writing is really clever. Like the quips are super funny and they're just like completely off the wall. Like when what's Eugene's character's name? I don't know.
Johnny Rose.
Johnny Rose. Yep, and Moira. Her accent
Moira.
or whatever she tries to do
I
is
love
hilarious.
it.
Moira.
And the random words that she just says in the weirdest.
Fucking way.
It's not even an accent. Yeah, it's just
dramatic.
So there's I don't know if the show admitted to this or if somebody like this is their fan theory, but Moira Rose is from a very poor family.
Yeah, she says that in the episode where she gets stoned at the Hawaiian party where she's like, you wouldn't believe it. She's talking to the mayor's wife or whatever. She's like, you wouldn't believe it.
Jocelyn.
Jocelyn, thank you. I'm from a town just like this, blah, 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 blah.
And so the theory is that she just created this accent and this way of talking so that people wouldn't know she was poor. So it's supposed to sound much
hoitier.
Yeah. A little like hoity-toity and more like an old money accent.
That makes a lot of sense because
yeah,
dude, I like her wigs though. I think wigs are cool. I think she's fun with her wigs, and I like how they all have a name and a personality. Like, just like hell yeah,
yeah.
But oh shit, I forgot what I was saying about Johnny Rose. Oh, when he's the pallbearer for that guy that nobody like he didn't know or whatever, and they ask him, and he's like, and it's the opening to the episode. They ask him to like be a pallbearer, and he says something about a kick in the teeth, and the mayor's like, "That's not a good time," and he goes, "Well, I don't know the guy's name who had some risk, had whatever." Sure. He's like, "Yeah, well, Dad's not gonna care." I was just like, "Oh yeah, he's not gonna care." It's just like really funny, clever clips, and I'm trying really hard to like Alexis when she's not acting like a dumbass. I actually really like her, but when she's all like, I'm like, girl,
that's so funny. She is hands down my favorite character.
Yeah.
I think she is so funny. I think she's hilarious.
Yeah, see, I love the sarcasm of Stevie, but again, I'm only one season in rather, but Stevie's sarcasm is the best thing in the whole world. I'm like, yep. I like that.
Yeah, Stevie's pretty deadpan.
So, what were your thoughts about Schitt's Creek? Like, if you think back to when you started watching it.
I started with the first episode, never watched I didn't watch another episode for a long time. I thought it was so dumb. I don't even think I finished the first episode. If
I had just picked this up to watch, I would have been in the same exact boat.
So then I went and watched another show called like Winona Earp. That Mutt's character, the actor, was in that show. And I was like, oh, this guy's pretty good. And then I found out that he was in Schitt's Creek. And I was like, remember that. So I went back and watched it. And you had to get like a couple episodes in to really get to Mutt's character. So I was like, all right, I will give it a few episodes. And after the first one, I pretty much fell in love with it. So
Mutt is one of the normal people in the show, but he's also probably hands down one of the most.
Yes. And then he goes in Winona Earp, he plays Doc Holliday. Because Winona Earp is like a spinoff of, it's a sci-fi thriller spinoff of Wyatt Earp.
What's Wyatt Earp?
Never mind.
Okay.
Wyatt Earp is a gunslinger from the West. I think he was a real guy. Yeah, I think he's a real guy. And so they do a sci-fi spin-off of his great-great-great-granddaughter.
Oh. But it's sci-fi, so is it set in the West or is it set in the future?
It is set in current times, but it's with like demons and stuff like that.
Oh, see, that's a show that I could probably watch.
And Mutt's character plays Doc Holliday, but Doc Holliday is immortal, so it's the original Doc Holliday that knew Wyatt Earp. Yeah.
Interesting. See, that's a show that I can get on board with.
Yeah, that one's fun. That one's a lot of fun.
Because to give some examples of the last two shows that I watched before Schitt's Creek, the first one, Loki, and the second one was Moon Knight. So I adored them. I loved them. So, but they've got like chaos and magic and superheroes and like fighting and like legends and shit, and like love that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm a big murder mystery person too. Like I'm a huge, oh my gosh, BBC Sherlock, with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh yeah, and those are long. Those are like 2 hours an episode, aren't they?
No
Those
idea.
are
I watched them a
long.
long time ago, and I adored that so much. Because I'm such a every episode has a mystery, and then behind that mystery is a longer mystery that connects the. That is like what keeps me coming back, and like this is a sitcom. Schitt's Creek is a sitcom, and like it's fine because the premise is, are they gonna get back to being rich, right? That's the kind of thought process. And then what happens in the time between now to where they get rich again or stabilize, I don't know. Or accept their situation and live with it. I don't know, but there's not anything in the background that is like I'm trying to figure it out. Like cuz like in Moon Knight there's a lot happening in the background and I'm like, okay, is there foreshadowing in this episode? What could this mean for this thing later? Like, what is all this? There is some really good foreshadowing in that show, by the way. And like, I am like, cannot wait for season 2 of Loki. And I don't know if they're doing a season 2 of Moon Knight. I really hope they freaking do, because they leave you at a place where you just want to know something really important to the whole series. And I don't know if we're going to get it. But Loki season 2 is supposed to come out sometime this summer, and I'm really looking forward to it. And those are two shows that Jake and I watch together. So a lot of times if I'm watching a show, it's because it's something that Jake and I watch and enjoy together. And he watched some episodes of Schitt's Creek with me and everything, but
he didn't like it.
I don't know what his thoughts are. Let me ask him.
No, save it for next week.
Okay.
We'll circle back to that next week.
Cool. We can do that.
Oh yeah, next week's Easter, right? So we'll go live on
Saturday. Yes. Good.
Saturday.
Yeah. Because I have some family stuff to do on Sunday. And all day. Basically. And then I don't know what time on Saturday. I have a birthday. But yeah, overall, I would, if I find myself like having nothing to do for 22 minutes, I might start. Really, I just want to watch season 2 to episode 4 because you said it was your favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like.
But if you don't like Alexis, you might not like that episode as much as I did.
Well, I don't not like her. I like Alexis, but I like the moments where she was with Mutt, like being like vulnerable. Like her true self. Like I really enjoyed her in those moments. But when she's like twirling your hair and being all like, I'm like, no, you're like a pretty chill person if you would just like lose the ditzy facade. Like,
Yeah.
that's what annoys me.
I think the ditzy. So back in high school, I thought the ditzy facade was so funny, but like, just like funny. I just thought it was really funny. And then I accidentally was making fun of it so much that it became part of my personality for a long time. So be careful what you joke about. It just might become real.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the burning question. While you are watching Schitt's Creek, what would you rather have been reading?
Yeah, so um I would have rather been reading 100%. Like there was times where I was like and like even during some of the episodes on because I think I started watching it on Friday or something during the commercials, I was like I found this new app that is for um what is it called? It's the Manta app. It's for graphic novels. And I got
Oh.
sucked into a graphic novel. And so during the ads, I was reading the graphic novel because it was like it's not, because there are quick episodes in this app and I could read them fully through and it wasn't like super committee. But if I was to just be straight up not watching and reading, I probably would have been starting there's should have been finishing something, like I said, but there's 2 books in series. So the Miss King series, book 2 of Ash and Embers, or um it's book 3. It's by Holly Renee. The 3rd book is called A Kingdom of Venom and Vows, and that's an enemies to lovers, dark, aesthetic, like vampire magic. It's really, really good. Um I would probably be reading that or the second book of the Umbra King. There's a lot I rather would have been reading, is what I'm trying to say.
Quite literally anything.
Because I think the app said that I had watched last night when I was finishing it up. It's like I had read or I watched for like 74 minutes or something, and I was like, man, I feel like a third of the way through a book right now. Like, so yeah.
So this might be a short-lived series.
Well, we'll just we'll do different shows. We'll try different shows. I will try
Yeah.
different shows
So,
that you recommend.
so you're not a fan of sitcom.
That's not true though, because I
I'm
like
just clarifying for as we move forward, trying to get
right.
a baseline.
I well, see here's the thing is I watched The Ranch and you don't like The Ranch. You thought it was
Oh yeah, I hate the ranch.
yeah, see I liked watching that because I thought it was Sam Elliott's character is in that show is my favorite thing in the whole world. Whiskey drinking, non putting up with shit dude. Um so I really enjoyed that and that's technically a sitcom.
Yeah, is that were we talking about the laugh track?
Yes, we were talking about shows with laugh
And if
tracks.
you yeah, okay.
And that has a laugh track. Yeah, and I didn't know it until somebody else pointed it out to me and I had to go like play an episode and I was like, "Oh, I don't think I noticed because I was laughing at all the same times."
I know some people have really strong opinions about laugh tracks.
Yeah,
And
the person I
I
was
am
talking to had a super strong opinion about laugh tracks.
not one of those people.
Yeah. Um but yeah, so I'm open to another show. Is there one that's like on your mind that you would have me watch for the next I'd rather be reading?
I am gonna think on it for a minute and try to pick one that's different.
Okay, cool. Um
Now that I know superheroes.
uh
I think I got one then.
what is it?
Have you watched The Punisher?
No. Is that a
He's
show?
not
I
really
thought that was a
su-
movie.
They did 3 different movies and then a TV show.
Oh.
The movies were good up until the TV show came out, and then John Bernthal as the Punisher put all the other Punishers to shame.
Oh, cool. I don't know who that
And I
is.
guess he's not really a superhero. He's more of an anti-hero.
That's fun.
It's
It's
really
like
dark.
Deadpool, because Deadpool is like,
Yes. Yeah, it's a lot more like Deadpool.
I fuck with Deadpool. That movie
Not
is
as
such a
clever. Not as clever and witty.
so good.
More
Jake's-
brutal.
Jake's favorite is Deadpool. He loves Deadpool. It's hilarious. But so I will watch Punisher.
And those are long, so we'll just do one episode.
Well, our next I Rather Be Reading isn't for a few weeks, so I can space it out, which is better for me.
Oh, okay.
I crammed this week because life bitch. But but I spent 20 hours in the car for no reason this week, so it took a lot of my time away from being able to do a lot of other stuff.
Oh my god, yeah.
Right? Yes, Punisher is so good. Okay. I'm committed. We're committed now. So I don't know. I think it's like 5 weeks out will be another I read. Let me see. So I Rather Be Reading April 30th. So at the end of the month. So yeah. Will be our Punisher I Rather Be Reading. So I will start on that. Next week episode is going to be about underrated books. So Kristin and I are going to bring underrated books or series or an author. And we're going to discuss why we think they're probably underrated, why we think they're good, and just try to get the knowledge out about some of these things that we really enjoy, but we haven't seen in the mainstream of Bookstagram or Book Talk or anything like that. So I'm looking forward to that one because I have 2 things in mind, and we can chat offline about all that, Kristin. But I'm really looking forward to that episode because I have 2 authors with multiple series that I think are severely underrepresented in the book world. So
Yes.
even though they're
Very
like
cool.
been on the best sellers list before, like I still think they're like totally underrated.
Perfect. I'm excited for that one.
But yeah, so Schitt's Creek is okay. I rather have been reading the whole time. Might continue here and there, but now that I've been assigned the Punisher, not so sure if I'm
I think you're gonna
committed.
like that one better.
Yeah, it sounds like more my speed. So I'm looking forward to that. Is it on Hulu? Do we know where that's playing at?
I think it's on Disney.
All right, I'll figure it out.
Which once you start watching it, it's very inappropriate for Disney. But Disney owns Marvel, and Punisher's a Marvel character.
Okay.
So it started on Netflix, and then they moved it to Disney.
Gotcha. I have Disney Plus, so that works. I don't have Disney Plus. I pay for Disney Plus for my nieces and nephews every year, but then I use the Marvel section of it for my own self. So
Perfect.
Rye says he thinks it might be on Netflix.
It started on Netflix. That's where it originally aired on. Yeah.
Okay. Is it like a Netflix original? Or was it? Or was it something else?
Yes. So originally they started with Daredevil, that superhero, and then the Punisher appeared in that, and he was so good, he got his own spin-off show.
Cool.
However, they kind of messed it up because all of his best fight scenes are still in Daredevil.
Oh.
But John Bernthal is excellent as the Punisher.
I'm gonna have to Google this is gonna be a running theme, everyone.
I'm not even kind of surprised.
Sorry. All right. Well, thank you for so much, everyone, for joining us for the show this week. It's been a good one. It's been a fun one. I'm liking venturing out into watching shows, and I do mean that. Like, it was a good trying to sit and do nothing without consuming all of these words on a page. I think probably healthy for me. So I think this is going to be good for me. But thanks for the recommendation, Kristin, about Schitt's Creek. And we will see you guys next week.